Oh, I'm Naomi Cox-Andrews, and welcome to the Naomi Cox-Andrews Show. I am fortunate to have a guest today, Commissioner Grady Prestage. Is that right? Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's so good to have you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see you.
Well, you don't know me. You've seen me before?
Oh, I've watched you for years. So. Yeah,
Oh, have you?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Well, you watched me for years. You're right, because I've been around a long time, and I'm proud to say that.
You're doing well.
And I'm still active. I saw you and your wife several years ago coming out of one of my favorite restaurants, Davis Street. And but I don't think I'd seen or heard of you anymore since then.
Well, you know, those of us in Fort Bend County used to have to come into Houston, Harris County for entertainment, for dining and whatnot, and church. But now that the county has grown so much, we have our own things out here. So if you dined in one of the fine establishments in Fort Bend County, you'd probably see me more often.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to come out here. I had a young lady on my show some time ago, and she has a wine bar out here. It's called B's Wine Bar. You might know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I frequent it quite often.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go there because a doctor told me, my cardiologist told me some years ago, Naomi, it would be good for you to drink 4 ounces of red wine every day.
Okay.
I said, Doctor, I promise you, I'm going to do that. And I do. So I'm going over to B's Wine Bar, and you and your wife might be over there sometime. But I am going over there just to see it, because I might go over there soon, because I told you I'm coming up on a big birthday next month, before yours, I think. Because you born in July too, right?
Yeah, I'm born July 30th.
Right. So
I'll be 66. I think you'll be 57. Is that right?
Oh, I love you. I'm going to call your wife and tell her to give you a big hug for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Over at the Mighty TSU, somebody told me over there one time, Naomi, stop telling your age. But I'm proud of it. I'm much older than, I'm still not telling you my age, but I'm much older than 50, 60, or 70.
Okay.
But the Lord is good.
Yes.
And
all the time.
I'm still enjoying it. So, Commissioner, back in my hometown, T, I worked for the county one time. I got tired of Houston. I say, I'm leaving Houston. I'm going back to T. So I got a job up there as an assistant auditor. I went to the great TSU, and I have 2 degrees in business, so I went up there and interviewed, and they called me on a Saturday night and say, you got the job if you want it. So I say, okay, and so I moved up there. But one of the things that we had to do is work with the commissioners. You might know it is Freestone County, Laurel County. But my own commissioner, he's from Wortham. You ever heard of Wortham,
I've heard
Texas?
of Wortham. Yes, I have.
That man just used to give me, because we had to pay the bills for the county. And I mean, he just scrutinized my assistant's work. But, you know, I had to approve them for her to pay them. And you would be surprised. You might not be surprised. A little old county like that, all the bills and the money and all they were spending. So all I knew about y'all was that you worked on the roads, make sure we had some clean, passable roads and ditches, right? But tell me a little bit more about what y'all do,
Well,
because I don't know.
Texas has 254 counties,
Right.
and regardless to the population of that county, Harris County with almost 5 million people, or Freestone County, which probably has 20,000, they're structured the same way.
Okay.
There's a commissioner's court with 5 members, 4 commissioners who are elected from single-member precincts, and a county judge who's elected countywide. The primary function of the commissioner's court is as the budgetary arm of the county. So we fund all the county services. Some of them that are statutorily required that you have to have. You have to have a jail. You have to have a county clerk that'll maintain your vital records. You have to have a tax assessor. All those functions have to be funded in the county budget. But there are also some things that aren't mandatory, some things that are discretionary. And depending on the size of the county and the demand of those citizens, you might get into libraries or parks or ambulance service. Those kind of things are not mandatory for a county to provide. They're optional. But as the county, if you see counties that are larger, they're typically involved in other things that are not necessarily required, but the citizens expect and want to have. And so we have to set a tax rate and do a budget sufficient enough to fund those activities that are both required and optional.
So you say tax rate. So we pay county tax. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Counties run primarily on property taxes.
Okay.
Property taxes. So that's the backbone of the county's budget. Unlike cities, which get property taxes and sales taxes, counties are primarily on property taxes.
Okay.
And so that's a curse and a blessing. It's a curse in that we don't enjoy the windfall that you get from sales taxes when times are great and people spend a lot of money.
Right, like Christmas and Easter.
Christmas, that's
okay.
right, and back to school.
Right.
A lot of money spent back to school. But the blessing is that we can just about understand what's going to happen from year to year in our budget, so we don't have any surprises. So we can see what revenue might be coming based on our population growth or other trends, and we can easily budget from year to year and not have to worry about big drops in our revenue that come in like you have in sales taxes. So it's a curse and a blessing, but I'll take a county government in Texas is really a good level of government. It's a level of government where you actually do something. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to do some things like you might have to do in the legislature. I know your daughter's a state legislator. You know, it's kind of hard to get things passed in the legislature, especially if you're in a party that's not in the majority.
Right,
That's a little tougher. On a commissioner's court, you need 3 votes. There are 5 members. You need 3 votes. That's a simple majority. And so if you have something you want to get done, you need someone to second your motion, and you need a 3rd vote. So commissioner's math works this way. One commissioner can't pass anything unilaterally. You can,
right.
If you're tactful and popular and you can convince your colleagues to support you, have a good chance of getting it done. If you have 2 commissioners who want the same thing, well, your odds of getting it done go up quite a bit. But the magic number is 3. 3
That's
votes
it.
Gets it done. It gets it done. And so I've been in office I'm in my 34th year on the Commissioner's Court in Fort Bend County. And there have been many years where I was the only Democrat on the Commissioner's Court. But I managed to build relationships, find common interests, help others, and I managed to get most of the things I really wanted for my constituents and for the county. And some of the things I didn't get right away, but if they made sense and they were really credible objectives, then I normally would get it in time. Just got to wait for your moment and get it done. But I wouldn't trade county government for any level of government. You're close to the people. You hear them. You're a commissioner, whether you're in the grocery store or you're at church or you're at Davis Street having dinner. Okay, it's the same thing, and every meeting, as long as you post the action that you want to take 72 hours in advance, you can get it done. So it doesn't take you a long time, and usually when things get on the agenda of any commissioner's court in any county in Texas, normally if it makes it on the agenda, typically the support is there, and so what I learned when I joined the commissioner's court after the 1990 election, same thing I tell new commissioners as they come in. Don't put anything on the agenda unless you have the votes.
So you already know you're going to have the votes when it comes
on the agenda,
up.
No jump balls, no rolling the dice. No, have your votes together before it makes the agenda. And then make sure, keep your blood pressure down. You don't come to the meeting with your fists all balled up, and you don't leave aggravated. Don't put it on the agenda unless you have the votes. And as a follow-up to that, if you talk to your colleagues and you canvass your support, legally, of course, you have to understand that these are politicians you're dealing with. And politicians have a way of answering questions to suit their own agenda. So if I ask you, Commissioner Cox-Andrews, can I have your support on this item? You might say, well, I really like this item. I've done this, that. You go all over the place, but you don't tell me yes. And so the second rule of canvassing votes after don't put it on the agenda unless you have the votes is if the answer isn't yes, then it's no.
Right, it's just got to be one or the other.
If the answer isn't yes, then it's no. You don't have to give up, but don't leave that conversation thinking that you got that support if you don't hear Y-E-S, yes. If you don't hear that, the answer is no. And I learned that lesson the hard way. Took these answers from my colleagues at face value, put it on the agenda, call for the vote, look down at my colleagues, and when they don't make eye contact with you, you know
they're not going to vote.
You. Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
It only takes a few times for that to happen to you understand, oh, okay, that's the game. Okay, the answer isn't yes, then it's no. Okay, so those are some things I learned in my 34 years, and I try to pass that on to new politicians on Commissioners Court and at all levels of government. I get a chance to talk to city council members, school board members, community college trustees, and I always tell them, to understand the game, understand what you're doing, understand how things get done. And if you see some practice that's successful for an individual, emulate that practice. One thing I tell a lot of those politicians is that you don't have to always talk. Okay? You don't have to always talk, particularly for a new politician. You come on the board, and you want to show everybody you're smart. So you're going to ask all these questions, most of which you know the answer already. You just want to sound smart. That is not a good strategy. This is the world according to Grady. Okay, someone else might have a different opinion, but especially when you come onto a new board, listen first. Okay, so that when you ask a question, it's a genuine question that you really don't know the answer to. Okay. Another reason I say that is that if you are always spouting out and telling everybody how you feel and what you think and asking questions, you tend to marginalize yourself. We know he's just going to talk. He's not about action. But if you're quiet and you keep it to yourself and you become an introvert, even if you're a flaming extrovert, soak it in. At some point in time, doing all the deliberations, they're going to turn to you and they're going to say, okay, Commissioner, okay, council member, okay, school board trustees, what do you think?
Exactly.
Okay? And then that amplifies your voice tremendously. What you say really matters because it's a point of view that they're not taking into account, hadn't taken into account heretofore. And so that's a strategy I tell newly elected officials. Just hold your peace a little while. You don't always have to talk, okay? And you could probably make yourself a much more effective policymaker and much better public servant if you do that.
And that's what it is, public servant.
Public service.
Well, do y'all get paid?
Yeah.
You know, you do get a salary.
You get paid. And it's
Okay.
probably one of the levels where of elected government where you get paid a salary commensurate to the job. I mean, state representatives get $600 a month, so that you can't live on that. You got to have some other vacation.
Right.
Texas has.
But you don't.
Texas
You
has
can
a
live
citizen-
on what they pay you. I'm not asking you to tell me
it's,
how
it's
much
public
you,
record. The commissioners
get
of Fort Bend
paid.
County make somewhere in the 160s.
Okay.
It's a living wage.
Okay,
and
right.
So, and it varies from county to county. Fort Bend County is probably in the upper percentile of salaries of members of Commissioners Court. We're paid a living wage, but there are a lot of department heads and other county employees who make much more than the commissioners because they've got certain skill sets. I mean, a health director or a county engineer or the county auditor, they all make more than the commissioners, okay? But that's just the nature of the game. We set our own salaries. Okay, we set our own salaries. And so despite that, we do have some parameters we got to work within because we work for the public and we have to face the public. So every decision we make, including how much we're paid, we have to answer to those voters, every 4 years. And
Okay.
if they're not pleased with decisions you've made, they'll let you know. They'll get someone else. Okay,
Right.
So there is some amount of self-governance in what we do in terms of setting salaries for all county employees and particularly the elected officials and commissioners court members.
And you've been a commissioner for how many years did you say?
I'm in my 34th year. I got elected. In
Well, you must have
1990.
started when you was a kid.
No, I was old.
Oh, you're not old now.
I got elected when I was 32 years old.
32.
And it said next month we were both July babies.
Right.
I celebrate my 66th birthday on the 30th of July. So
Yeah,
it's
mine's
been-
before yours. Mine is 15, but I don't tell my age anymore.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Women don't tell age. I used to, but I was talking to a president over at TSU one time. He said, "Damn it, stop telling your age." So I don't tell it anymore.
I got you.
But I'm proud of it. But I'm probably old enough to be your mother.
Okay, but like I said, you're doing a great job, and I love your premature gray hair.
Oh, it's platinum. I call it platinum.
Okay, all right.
I had a. Do you have any connection, or did you go to TSU?
I'm not a Texas Southern graduate or student. I attended Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Oh, that's
Louisiana.
okay. That's all right.
I grew up pretty much on the campus. My parents were college professors who became administrators, and my father actually was the chancellor of Southern University, Baton Rouge, through much of the 80s. My mother was a dean of the School of Public Policy, which is the MPA program, and she chaired the political science department for
Right.
many years. So I grew up in academia. I grew up pretty much on Southern's campus. Every day of my formal education was on Southern's campus. I went to the nursery school on the campus. I went to the Southern University Laboratory School from first grade through 12th grade and went 4.5 years at Southern where I earned a civil engineering degree. And so, yeah, I am a product of Southern University. But I do appreciate all the HBCUs. I've got more connections to Prairie View because my mother, upon retiring from Southern, spent, I want to say, 15 years on the faculty
Really?
at Prairie View. And that was her second stint at Prairie View. She taught at Prairie View in the 50s.
When I was going.
That's good. And so she taught in the 50s. And my father, like I said, they entry-level jobs once they got their PhD was at Southern. And so they spent time at Southern. After my father retired as the chancellor, he went fishing for a year, got bored, and got talked into teaching biology classes. His PhD was in biology. He got talked into teaching a biology class, which was supposed to be a one-year deal at Dillard in New Orleans.
Okay, yes, I know Dilla too.
12 years later, he's still there.
Oh, my
so
God.
he retired.
Wonderful.
He retired again, and they moved to Houston, and lived the rest of their lives in Houston. They've been gone for a few years. My father passed away a couple of years ago. My mother died in 2014. But they were products of HBCUs. They got graduate degrees at Iowa, University of Iowa, and but they came and worked their entire careers at HBCUs, and so I know and understand the experience. A lot of my mother's former students ended up at Texas Southern in political science.
Wonderful,
People like
wonderful.
Saunders Anderson and Franklin Jones, and all those folks were my mother's students at Southern, and she prided herself in producing a lot of black PhDs. That was their mission. So I had a perfect upbringing. I have no excuse for succeeding. Everything was poured into me.
Right,
I
right.
just had to just not screw it up.
Well, do you have any siblings?
I have siblings, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, all are Southern graduates. And
Wonderful,
my
wonderful.
wife is a Southern graduate, and
Wonderful.
my two children, adult children, are Southern graduates. So
You're Southern all
we're
the way.
Southern all the
Wonderful,
way. But
wonderful.
I love me some HBCUs. And
Right,
I
I
love
do
TSU.
too.
I love TSU. We're doing a program right now. We're hiring some graduate students at Southern to intern with the county, working on a couple of special projects that I'm working on. So I try to find those opportunities all the time. We're working on another project where we're doing a community center building, and some of the design is going to be done by Prairie View architecture students.
Right, right.
Under the supervision of a licensed architect, but I want to use the position I'm in to reach out to those folks who grew up like me, get opportunities to get exposure, so they can get good jobs when they finish their programs.
Good. Now tell me, what was your major at Southern?
I was a civil engineering major.
Okay,
Civil
right.
engineering, and I'm a registered professional engineer, and I practiced engineering for a few years. But the commissioner's position is a full-time position, so I really couldn't do both. And,
Right.
But I get a chance to do things civil engineering related in my job. I mean, commissioners build roads, bridges, do drainage, we build buildings. We do a lot of things like that that are civil engineering driven type projects. So it helps to have that background. I can cut through a lot of the bull with folks and consultants, and
Right.
So
Because you know about it.
I know about it, and I've lived it, and it's not much involving county government that I haven't done in those 34 years.
Well, I'm just so happy to meet you, because I saw you and you called it over to my favorite restaurant. You and your wife coming out one evening, but I thought you were a much older man. But
65 is no spring chicken, so
well, no, I thought you were older than that, because I was surprised, when you walked in here, that you're so young. But thank God you're there, and you're getting older. That's what I say about mine. But let's go back to this. Some of the things you do. I told you when I was the assistant county auditor up in Freestone County, where I'm from, I thought all y'all did was just the roads, and I guess bridges too. And so you're telling me that you even have programs that involve younger people.
well, we do. Like I said, some of the things said are required. We have to maintain good county road system. But
That's all I know.
The optional things we do. We do a lot of. I understand when I got elected to Commissioners Court in Fort Bend County, the county had 220,000 people. It still was a relatively large county, all things considered. It was in the top 20 of the 254 counties.
Right.
Right now, we're the 8th most populated county in the state, 8 out of 254.
Right.
And within maybe 2 years, 3 years, we'll have 1 million people. So
Really?
right now, the census estimate shows that we have about 944,000 people.
Oh, well, you will
It's a
have.
big county.
That's close.
It's a big county. It's this county is. I can give you a good example. Memphis is in Shelby County, Tennessee.
Right.
Fort Bend County's population is more than Shelby County, Tennessee.
Really?
I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Our population is twice the size of East Baton Rouge Parish. Okay, and so it's bigger than twice the size of Orleans Parish, where New Orleans
Okay,
is.
right.
So it's and it's growing. We're growing quite a bit. So during my tenure to go from 225,000 people to 944,000 in the course of that time, tremendous growth. So with that, the people expect more than what a rural commissioner or rural county would offer. They want urban
Right,
things.
right.
They want parks. They want libraries. They want community centers. They want nice roads, concrete roads, not asphalt roads with ditches. They want nice things. They want nice programs. They want social service programs. Okay. They want, just the same thing that you might see in Harris County. They want in Fort Bend County, because most people don't pay attention to that county line at all. It's just they don't know where it starts and where it stops. All they know is that they pay taxes.
Right.
And they have
You want
needs,
some roads, good
and
roads.
we elected you. We won't, I'll just do, and that's fine. That's fine. It's a challenge, but fortunately, when you have a county that's growing, and the tax base is growing, and you can still reduce the tax rate because the property value is growing,
Right.
it makes you look very smart. Okay, it makes you very smart.
That's good.
The challenge is if you have stagnant growth or a declining population, like some of the rural counties, like Freestone County, might have that challenge.
Right,
You know,
right.
they-
Because we all left.
They all left.
We're not
Everybody left
going
and come
back.
Right, and what I find here is that more and more of the kids that come out of high school here, who might go off to college, if they get employed in the Houston area, Fort Bend County might be their
That's
residence.
where they're going to live.
Residence, right. And the other thing we have,
Good.
it's about association too. I mean, you have Fort Bend County is probably the most ethnically diverse county in the state of Texas. It's got a 21% Asian population, a 21% black population, a 25% Hispanic population, and the rest Anglo. It is as close to being 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 in those major ethnic groups. And the county's Asian population is growing tremendously due to people moving in. And if they move in communities where they have people who speak the same language, who have the same faith, who might be their same country of origin, they're going to move there. And the word gets out, this is a nice place, a nice haven for that community. So you got big South Asian communities with Indian, you got Pakistani community, you got Bangladesh community, you got a big Filipino community. You have a very big Nigerian community in Fort Bend County. It's recognized as one of the, spots that Nigerians move and live in. And so, and Hispanic, communities of all countries, Mexican, South American, Central American. You have a lot of folks here in this county. It's really a melting pot. And so, we do well. The political scene is being integrated more. We've got an Indian county judge. And we've got
Oh, I think I know him, George.
KP George. Yes,
Yes, I know him.
and we have two African Americans on the Commissioner's Court, which is very unusual. The only other counties in Texas that have that would be Jefferson County with Beaumont and Arthur. They've got two black county commissioners. You've got two in Tarrant County, Fort Worth.
And you got somebody else
We got
with
two.
you.
Yeah, Dexter McCoy is a commissioner. He's in his first term, and so we have some diversity in all of the elected officials in the county. The county tax assessor collector is black. The district clerk is black. The sheriff is black.
Really?
Yeah, and so we've got a number of countywide elected officials. District judges, I think there are 4 or 5 black women district judges, and we just elected in the primary, he's unopposed in November, a black male as a district court judge. We've got 3 or 4 county court of law judges. So, and these were countywide positions. In addition to that, there are 2 commissioners. There's a black constable, and soon to be another black constable, and and another black justice of the peace. So we have a pretty good diverse showing in Fort Bend County of African Americans and other ethnic minorities. So
You really do. Well, you must tell your judge, KP George, that about the show. I don't think we used to work together long years ago at American Express Financial Advisor.
Okay.
And so he knows my daughter, but he didn't know my daughter. You know, that was my daughter, but I was very fond of him.
We work well together.
He took good care of me when we worked together. But I just didn't know that y'all commissioners did all that you do. As I said, my little experience with Freestone County, and I'm proud of that. I just thought it was about the roads, you know.
It's still about the roads.
And
you still got to do the basics, or people will find someone else to do your job. So yeah, it's still about the basics. You have to make sure that the people get good value, and that they feel heard and appreciated. So it's an art.
Well, I would go to the meetings, to y'all's meeting, but I'd mostly be going in there to make sure I'd paid these bills right for them, because this is my own commission. I probably told you this before. Boy, he used to scrutinize. He used to tell me, because I always, $2 or $3 I paid. That's not my bill, Oh, okay, Commissioner. Then he'd be over in my office talking to me, drinking the coffee. So how in the heck am I going to get my work done on time if you've taken up all this time? But I'm glad to really know a little bit more about what you do.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
And when I get up to Tig in Freestone County, well, I might try to see some of those people like you, the commissioners, and let them know that I know commissioners in the big city.
That's right.
Fort Bend County. But I'm really impressed.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I actually have an office down the hall.
Oh, in this building.
Yeah, it's a political office where I do my fundraisers and activities out of.
Okay.
It's not county.
Okay.
It's my personal political office down the hall. So yeah, I've been familiar. In fact, back in a business I had, this was my suite.
Oh, okay. In this suite. Well, you write it home.
This room was my office.
You write it home.
Yeah, and so I had back in the '90s, I had a marketing and public relations business, that I was a part of, and I had an engineering business that was in this building once upon a time, but I learned pretty quickly that my job as a commissioner was full time.
Right,
it was very hard to do both, and so I sort of decided to just be a public servant,
right,
and let those other opportunities go. And maybe in another life, when they unelect me, or when I retire, I'll go back and do something.
Yeah, that's it. That's better than unelected when you retire.
That's right.
Because after a while, I'm sure just dealing with the public every day, that has to be a job.
It's a job, but it's fun. It's fun. I
because that's your personality.
I like to be in the know. I'm a pleaser, so I like to help folks. So, I get questions about everything under the sun related to government. A lot of it is not necessarily my function, but if I can be a resource and point them in the right direction or help them, I always do. And of course, just that's a life lesson that you do good things, it always comes back.
It comes back to you. Well, I know your parents would be proud of you. Were they living when you got elected?
They were, and my mother was a political science professor.
Right.
So to get a politician out of the bunch, she was extremely happy.
Okay.
Extremely happy, and so she bragged on me all the time. She raised the bar, and so I had a lot to live up to, and particularly because she was a political science professor, and that was real important to her. So she was proud, and I was a mama's boy. Okay, so I was a mama's boy.
Yeah, I got a grandson like that, and he'll tell you too, just like you said, I'm a mama's boy.
Mama's boy.
He's a nice little Boy, I think he's going to be a minister, though. He
Okay.
said the Lord talked to him one
Okay.
morning or something, and you don't find him in the morning without reading that Bible, and in the evening he reads his Bible. But I'm just so and happy. And you say you're going to Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I'm a speaker in Baton Rouge at the end of this month at the Southern University National Alumni Conference.
Southern,
So
yes, right.
I'm the life member breakfast speaker. So that's a
Okay.
trip to go back home.
Right,
and,
right.
And participate in that. And again, every day of my formal education was on that campus. So any opportunity I have to go back, I do. I do.
Well, I had a reason for asking you that. I got a son there,
Yeah.
and he's Dr. Ronald Andrews.
Cox-Andrews, yeah.
I'm just telling you this in case you have any trouble
Okay.
medically.
I remember.
Just try to find Dr. Ronald Andrews and tell him you know his mama, and you're going to get the best treatment you ever had in your life, being my son.
I understand.
Now tell me again, how many children do you have?
I've got 2 adult children.
Right.
And they both kind of grew up in this part of Fort Bend County, went to public schools here, and they both attended Southern University.
Okay. Quite naturally, they would end. Well, that's
My
wonderful.
daughter was a communications major, and my son was an architecture major.
Yeah, oh, wonderful, wonderful.
And so, yeah, I'm real proud of them, and they're doing great things. And
They can't ever do great things. Look at their daddy.
well, I hope you're right.
Right.
You're right.
The fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree or something like that. I learned in tea.
That's right. That's right.
But that is wonderful, and I'm just so glad to have you on my show. As I probably told you when you were coming in, I saw you and your wife at my favorite restaurant and coming out.
Well, Mark is going to have to get some royalties from your plugs you got.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gonna see him. This is your invitation to.
Invitation. Yeah,
My son is coming over there. Now, do I need to call your wife? I don't like to invite men to parties and dinners. Now, I don't mind calling your wife. You give me her number.
Now, you got my cell number.
Okay, and
Give
inviting
me a
her.
buzz. Give me a buzz.
But I really wish you'd come over there so you can meet my son.
I'd love to.
As I told you, I have 4 smart, good-looking, wonderful children.
Okay.
I know how to rear some children. A lot of people say, I raised my children. No, I didn't raise my children like you do cattle or fowl or hogs or something. I reared my children. And I'm sure you did too.
Yes.
And yours went right on to the university you went to.
Oh, yeah. You set a good example. Yes.
Yeah, I only had 2 to do that. My first 2 went to the great Texas Southern University. And my younger 2 went to Hampton University.
Okay. Yeah. Nice little bill there.
Right, right.
You're still paying for that one. yeah. I'm sure.
Well, thank God.
I'm sure they were high achievers and got that full ride scholarship.
No, I don't know if anybody got a full ride.
I
really
it was
don't.
easy on my parents. I just want to tell this story. When I'm from Baton Rouge, so I lived at home much of the time I was in college.
Right.
I can remember when I registered my first semester of classes, 18 hours, the tuition and fees for a full-time student at Southern in the fall of 1976 was $168. $168 for a full-time student.
Yeah,
And so Louisiana offered those kind of good value for education, and they also had bus service that went as far as 100 miles away. So you could be in Thibodaux, Louisiana,
right,
and catch a bus at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, be on the campus for your 8 o'clock class, catch the 2 o'clock bus home or the 5 o'clock bus home, and you can live at home, many miles away from Baton Rouge and become whatever you want to become. That's how Louisiana prospered in those days. You produce all these teachers and any kind of profession you can think. Now the price now is gone out of sight, but back in that time it was a good value. State schools were a great value. And so
right.
I was fortunate enough that my parents didn't have to put out much money at all for me to get a college degree, and an entry-level job that brought me here to Houston. So
Right.
that's great.
Oh, I'm familiar with that because, I probably went 20 years before you did. I better be careful about that because I'll be telling my
You get
age.
real close to telling me.
See that? I better shut up talking about that. But when I went to TSU, I got a full ride. I was smart like that. Honestly, I was second in my class, so I didn't have to pay any tuition and all that. But the dormitory room where I stayed, $4,500 a month. That was your food and your dormitory. So, it was a good thing. They talk about dormitory food and cafeteria food wasn't good, but it didn't bother me. Now, on Sundays, they only gave us a cheese sandwich or something and an apple or orange or something like that, but I ate that.
You made it happen.
And sometimes on one day, maybe Friday or something, it was something I didn't like, so I would sell my meal ticket. And the football boys would give me a quarter, and I would go right down the street and get me a little barbecue sausage with a lot of gravy. It wasn't nothing but grease and 3 or 4 pieces of bread, because I always had, a good appetite, and still do most of the time, but it doesn't bother me. I know how to, eat.
How to make it happen.
Yeah, so I won't get obese, and which would be bad for my heart and my health and all that. But it's certainly been a pleasure. And now you make your wife know me. She might not remember,
She does. She does.
but I remember.
I pointed you out because I know at one time you were a regent.
Oh yes, at the Great Texas. I was the first female,
Right. I remember that, and
longest serving to date.
I made note of that, and so she knows exactly who you are.
Okay, did she go to TSU or she went to
She went to
Southern
Southern.
too?
She was my classmate. We met in college.
Oh, really? Wonderful. Wonderful. That's wonderful. In fact, I met my husband, my church daddy, at the Great TSU.
Well, HBCUs are a great.
He wasn't going
environment.
there.
It
He was
a
just
great
over there
environment.
watching the girls.
But even that, it was a great environment.
Okay.
Okay, because you got a lot of things going for you. You got the numbers are there. You're all there together.
Right.
One, and there's some level of intellectual compatibility, or you wouldn't be in college.
Right. Right.
So you get people who have a lot in common with you, and and once the herd gets thin after that first year, so you see who's going to be left, and those are formative years. You're learning so much, and things are changing so fast for you. So yeah, I met my wife at an HBCU at Southern, and I suspect that had not happened then, maybe years after I got into the work world before I found the right person. But I found the right person right there. We'll be celebrating 44 years.
Oh, wonderful.
December. Yeah, it's been great.
Well, she has really taken good care of you, because I would not have ever believed that you were 60-something. And I see your hair, but, I started graying at 40-something. And I never, but I don't call mine gray. I call mine platinum.
Yeah, I got that.
But it never bothered me, because I had such a good relationship with my father. Most of my friends are men, and so I asked one of my men friends, you know who I'm talking about, Dr. Rod Page. Once we were having breakfast together, so I had this few gray hairs right in the front, 5 or 6, and so I say, Rod, is this making me look any older? And he said, oh, no, Naomi. So I never colored it. And so now I enjoy it. And by right, at my age, I should have a few gray hairs.
Yeah, 57 is a tough number. Yeah.
I like that you said that. And it's not 7, it's 55. 55. Okay, since you wanted me to be 50. So it's all good.
Well, it's been a pleasure being here. Really a pleasure being here, and please invite me back.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you said that.
I'm at your beck and call.
Okay, all right.
Had you on our way, is that I was a guest. Naomi Cox-Andrews show.
Right, now you got it right. Don't forget my maiden name.
Naomi Cox-Andrews.
Cox, 'cause I told you I was a daddy's girl. And my mother said I never hugged her until my daddy died, but that's not true. I love talking to politicians. In fact, I tried to be one myself. You remember that?
And you ran for something.
State rep.
Representative. Yeah.
Against, you've been following me a long time.
Well, when I moved here, I immediately, saw what the political terrain was like and who
okay.
what's what. And
All
there weren't
right.
that many black elected officials
Right.
in 1980 when I moved here. So,
Right.
So it's my job to get a history lesson real fast.
Right. I don't know when I ran. I forgot that. But my daughter in the Dallas County area is a state rep. The Honorable Cox-Andrews Bowers looks just like me. All my children look just like their mama in some regards. But she said that's why she ran, because she was so hurt when I lost. And being a little girl and old enough to walk around, I used to just take her walking the blocks with me, and she said, Mama, I'm so tired. I say, well, baby, we just got one more block to walk. And so
That's a good education.
she took it up, and I'm very, very proud of her. In fact, I think she's coming today here to do something with, you heard of Jack and Jill?
I grew up in Jack.
Yeah, they did too. That's why they invited me to join, because I had all these kids,
Jack and
4
Jill,
kids.
and my kids went Jack and Jill. So.
Really? Here in Houston?
Yeah.
Well, they might know.
It was a Missouri City chapter.
Oh, okay. I don't know what they really use. And so, again, I love speaking to you, Commissioner. As I said, I haven't always felt that way about commissioners up in my county. I'm not going to say it again. And so the people that I already said it to, they're going to forget what county that is. But I told you they used to give me, because I was an auditor, assistant auditor, they used to give me heck about little old things. And then they would come in my office with some coffee, and they would just talk, how you think I'm going to do my work, and you sitting here talking to me? But it was all good. And again, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And I hope to see you again real soon. I will.
This is the all-new Mo City Radio. Take us on the go. Download the app on Android or iOS, giving you less talk, more turn up.